Bleeding Purple Podcast.
Deep drop, steps up in the pocket. Hill fires the right side. Caught by Diggs. Stay on. Oh my God! 30, no tag. Are you kidding me? The finish in the Minneapolis way. Step on Diggs in the Minnesota Vikings have walked off on the New Orleans Saints. It's a 61-yard Minneapolis miracle. I can't believe what I just saw. What an unbelievable play.
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in to Bleeding Purple, a podcast about the Minnesota Vikings. I almost forgot the name of that podcast. My name is Tyler Egg. I'm joined as always by Mr. Adam Patrick. Hello, good sir.
What's up?
It has been a long, it feels like forever.
A little while, but it's a podcast about the Vikings, and there hasn't really been much Viking stuff to talk about. So.
There hasn't. And it's amazing. If you take a step back and look, we can do this podcast basically every week, save about 3 or 4 weeks where there's really not much to talk about, which is absolutely ridiculous that there's that much news for the entire year. One of the only sports where we could do this, probably. Because what would you talk about if it was the Timberwolves right now? Nothing. There'd be nothing. Well, let's get into, so they got the OTAs are going on. Big story out of the first, I don't want to say first portion because it's like the fourth cycle of the fourth cycle of the moon in the off-season program or however it's close enough, right? But the big story was that Barr was not there this week, the first 2 days of this week. He has been in attendance. Barr has been.
Yep.
We found out after he talked to the media that there was an insurance policy that he has taken out. And part of the reason that he was gone, as most of us assumed, was he wanted a contract before OTAs, didn't get one, got the insurance policy instead. What do you make of all this? Is there any long-term anything that we need to be discussing here for him?
No, I think it was smart for him to do that based on some of the people that have already been getting hurt during OTAs. Mm-hmm. I think you have Hunter Henry. He tore an ACL for the Chargers. A linebacker for the Eagles, he tore his ACL. So, it was smart for Barr to either ask for a contract extension or just sit out and get that insurance and make sure that his butt is covered. Yeah. He's still getting paid.
Do you know
$12 million next year? So
do you know anything about this insurance policy or like what this entails, or how does one what insurance policy do you?
Oh, it's I don't think any terms have been released on it or whatever, or details, but it's not uncommon for people to do that. Like a lot of players in the draft, they will do that. I believe. Was it Marcus Lattimore and Jalen's? All the people that go into the draft with a knee injury or something like that, they'll take out a insurance policy. I believe Jadeveon Clowney, he did that before, while he was in college, in case he got hurt. But yeah, so it's not uncommon, especially for players in the last year of their contract. Mm-hmm. Then I don't think it's anything to worry about. I still think if a deal is going to get done, it'll get done before the season. Vikings don't typically like to have things stretch into the season, especially under Mike Zimmer. I don't think any of their extensions have creeped into the season. They've gotten pretty close, but none of them have gone into the season.
Yeah. Do you think with Barr, there obviously is a little bit of discontent because of he wouldn't have been gone for a week. He wants a new contract, blah, 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 blah. But as far as him being angry and frustrated with the team long term, there's nothing like that, right? I'm seeing a lot of kind of mumblings of that kind of thing on the Twitter, oh man, he
was at Mike Zimmer's football camp or whatever,
told him ahead of time that he was not going to be there
a day or two before OTAs, told him that he wasn't going to be there. Mike Zimmer at that time probably knew, but he didn't share with anybody, but he knew what was going on. Mm-hmm. And everyone, nothing to get angry about. I'm pretty sure Barr's pretty satisfied with what's going on right now.
And the way things are going, for sure. And the only reason he could become unsatisfied is if that contract that they offer or whatever, if they somehow manage to screw that up. But I just cannot imagine that they would lowball him in a way that would result in actual frustration from his camp. I guess shifting linebackers.
Yep.
Recently released Mychal Kendricks, brother to one Eric Kendricks.
Yep.
Was it in, God, I would keep wanting to say in Winter Park. Yep, TCO Egan Performance Area with Acre. We should just call it the Performance Acre. Visiting the Vikings. Do you think that's a good fit? Do you think that's would be a good route for the Vikings to go? Or do you think...
I mean, their depth at linebacker behind Kendricks and Barr isn't that great. Mm-hmm. I think all the linebackers behind those two are around like 23, 24 years old, and none of them really have a lot of experience playing actual defense. And most have just been on special teams if they've been on the field at all.
One of them is suspended for 4 games.
Yeah, Kendricks has experience coming off a season where just won the Super Bowl with the Eagles. He's started, I think, over 70 games, so he has that experience. I think it just depends on what he's looking for right now. He has already won that Super Bowl. Does he want to play with his brother, which would be pretty cool, and possibly win a Super Bowl with him? Or does he want to go somewhere else where he could be like a full-time starter? So, which I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be in Minnesota. He would more just be like a fill-in guy, maybe a third down situational type of player.
Yeah.
But yeah, also it'd be good for depth, but it would depend also on the money too, because if he wants too much, then the Vikings are going to have to say no thanks, because we have to sign our own players.
Yeah. Do you think that this will signing... What does this do for like a Ben Gideon or somebody of that, where like there may be progression to be made if he were playing? How much do you think he would be playing anyway? Do you think that Mychal Kendricks coming in would take snaps away from younger dudes in like a possibly negative
It could.
way?
I think it just depends on what goes on in training camp and preseason. You know, Gideon's had a whole entire offseason now to be with the Vikings and learn and train with them. He didn't get that last year because he was a rookie and he was doing off-season draft stuff and all that stuff, just getting into the NFL, all that, you know, eye-opening stuff. But this year he gets to be in the system. I think Eric Wilson is like that too. He was an undrafted free agent. He's been on the team for about a year now. This is his second year. So Gideon, he could be a different player this year than he was last year, just knowing where to be and stuff like that. So he was impressive, I think. Last summer, I remember Zimmer and the coaches being impressed with Gideon last summer. So
Yep.
I wouldn't think that a Mychal Kendricks signing would totally cancel out, you know, Gideon's chances this year to have more of an impact. But it really doesn't matter for any other linebacker because the Vikings basically just play Barr and Kendricks. They usually just play 2 linebackers anyway, so it really doesn't matter who plays better or not because nobody's going to overtake those 2.
That's exactly the way I was kind of looking at it, where it would be nice to have him, but if this doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world because that amount of snaps really isn't going to be, I mean, he's going to be involved in like packages and stuff like that. It's not going to be on the field constantly for, you know, the majority of the season. Yeah. So, what else do we got? Oh, good Lord. So let's dive in to the national anthem, the policy.
What happened?
Well, there's been this thing. So
I must have missed.
There was this one guy. He played for San Francisco at the time. I can't.
Jerry Rice?
No, it wasn't him. Not Montana.
Terrell Owens?
Anyway, it doesn't matter. But he was a quarterback. That was so dismissive. It does matter. But so they're kneeling during the anthem. People didn't like it. There's now a policy in place. That policy, as far as I can tell, and correct me if I'm wrong, because they can fine the teams for people not standing, but they will be keeping teams in the locker rooms as an option. Can you read? Do you have it? That was what I was hoping. I was hoping you had it. Excellent.
I had no idea we were going to talk about this. I just, happen to have these.
Yeah, no, I mean,
right
it's...
here. So the new NFL national anthem policy, which was not voted on.
Had absolutely no player involvement whatsoever.
Players.
Not a single player association
owners opposed it. It wasn't even real. There was no voting process. But all team and league personnel on the field shall stand and show respect.
Interesting.
For the flag and the anthem. That's, whatever your definition of respect is.
Can sense some gray area there. Continue.
The game operations manual will be revised to remove the requirement that all players be on the field for the anthem. So I believe that manual now says that every player must be on the field for the anthem. So now that leads to number 3. Personnel who choose not to stand for the anthem may stay in the locker room or in a similar location off the field until after the anthem has been performed. A club will be fined by the league if its personnel are on the field and do not stand and show respect for the flag and the anthem. Oh, we got 2 more. Each club may develop its own work rules consistent with the above principles regarding its personnel who do not stand and show respect for the flag and the anthem. And lastly, the commissioner will impose appropriate discipline on league personnel who do not stand and show respect for the flag and the...
It's so amazing that they created a policy that has like almost nothing concrete. Like there's like, it's like the only thing is just stop protesting.
Yep, and I heard today that I'm pretty sure they don't have a PR director in place right now. The league does not have a PR director right now, which makes all of this very unsurprising. Because a PR director would have been like, what? No.
You cannot do this. You cannot do this. You have to have somebody from their side in on these talks. It's going to
be way worse.
It's so incredible. And here's the thing is they knew it was not on the level because they are fining the teams and not the players. Because they knew if they were fining the players for that, that opens a whole new...
Yeah. Teams can fine players.
Yes. Yes.
Jerry Jones can fine players if he wants.
If he wants. But the league mandated rules. We're not going to be mad at the players, but you guys, we told you not to let anyone do that. It's incredible to me to ask a group of people that your protests are welcome, and we encourage your American ability to protest, but you can't do it here, and it has to be where no one can see you, is essentially what they're saying. And at that point, you could probably find a better way to protest, if you lose the, like...
Yeah, I think a lot of people who disagree with or are mad at the players for kneeling don't really know why they kneel. Or first, Kaepernick didn't kneel.
Yes. Oh my God. Thank you for bringing this up.
He sat during the anthem. And so then afterwards he talked to, I believe, a Green Beret who was either a current NFL player or a former NFL player. I think he was with the Seahawks. And they came and talked, and they came up with him kneeling because it would still
was the most respectful way to do it.
Show respect
yes.
to, the troops or whatever and the flag. And also, they're not protesting against the flag or the troops or the anthem or anything. They're protesting against, police brutality, against African Americans, racial inequalities, stuff that they don't agree with going on in this country right now. And protests aren't meant to make people feel comfortable. They're meant to bring up issues that people don't want to talk about because they just brush them aside. But, if you protest, you bring those issues forefront and people begin to talk about them, and maybe solutions will come about those. But this, it has nothing to do with disrespecting the troops. A lot of them have come out and said, I would kneel too with these players. And it's the national anthem. It's not the military anthem. It's supposed to represent everybody in this country, whether, you're protesting or not. It's for everyone, not just the military.
Yes. It's
Also, the NFL gets paid to play the national anthem.
That's what I was just going to say. It's part of their own doing because they have received so much money from the United States government to promote military and that type of thing. You know, that's why we have the month that is salute the what have you soldiers and all this and the
shorts.
Yeah, like salute your shorts. Yes, that's why the NFL has the salute your shorts month where they wear camo. But that's actually a really good, we should maybe consider doing that. But it's created because they mandated that these guys were on the field, and now that they're on the field and they're doing stuff that's making them uncomfortable, which, as you said perfectly, is exactly what a protest is supposed to do. It's supposed to make you uncomfortable. I'm so mad that they're blocking I-94. That's why they're blocking I-94, is so that you have to deal with it.
So
there has to be a dialogue. Yes, and then that is the other part about this whole story that's so frustrating. It's disrespecting. There's so much, you can't have it both ways. You can't.
Yeah.
It's just so frustrating to me that there are people who choose to see this protest as something out of their own heads, like this protesting the America. I'm taking a knee because I'm protesting America. Like, what are you? If you're not paying attention to what the actual cause is, how could you then have an opinion on what the protest is about if you aren't there, if you don't know that? It drives me crazy. And everybody's got an opinion on this story, is I think part of the reason that it's really starting to rub me the wrong way. Is because now there are a lot of people who have and not that you
don't
need
like football.
Yes, who don't like football at all. We're like, cancel the NFL. This is bull crap. And the reality of
ratings are tanking. Only 15 million people watch a game.
God, that's the other thing too, is I don't think the people who are actually angry about the protests, I don't think there are very many of those people. I just think those are squeaky wheels.
Not the majority.
No, not even close to the majority. And I feel like if there is any correlation between people angry about the protests and the cord cutting, as it is so commonly referred to,
yeah,
I just cannot imagine that is enough of a reason for people to decide to get rid of cable or television in general because, these football players on Sunday, I just cannot watch this garbage anymore. It's like, what NFL fan has ever said that? Then you were never really an NFL fan to begin with, you know?
Even if you get rid of cable, you still get all those local channels, which have football on.
All have them, yeah.
So there's really no way to get rid of it.
Yeah, it just drives. There's so many.
I'll be pretty blunt. A lot of the people that disagree with the players protesting are just dumb and ignorant.
You know,
and there's no real way to beat around that bush. It's just.
I honestly, the longer this story goes on, and the more I talk to people about it, and even people who are like non-sports fans, like coworkers who are 40 years older than me, like even the most conservative of conservatives that I know are still like, I just don't know why it's a big deal. I don't know why they're still talking about it.
Yeah. If there was I think there was a meme going around of like Tim Tebow kneeling.
Oh yeah.
During the anthem and protesting abortion or whatever. That's fake. Somebody made that up. But
yeah.
But if he did that, I highly doubt people would have such a rage issue over that compared to you know
I think
the black players protesting.
Yeah, I think you're right, but those hypotheticals are so dangerous, and I feel like
that's why I like to talk about.
And or hypotheticals like that. I feel like any time that you are answering a protest with well, I'm angry about that, you know, because that's what it feels like to me. Is I'm mad that he's protesting. I'm mad at the NFL.
Well, he's mad that people are getting shot.
Totally. And it's like, and if we're weighing the two, his is more important than yours right now.
Yeah.
I think there are bigger issues to grapple with. And at the end of the day, maybe we should be, I don't know if thankful is the right word, but it is creating a dialogue. And I feel like it is forcing people to remind other people what the actual issue is. It's not a disrespect to the military or this or that. It, here's what it is. Here's what Colin Kaepernick said. When he talks about the need, like you said, that was a discussion with a military member. And that was what they came up with as the most respectful way to do it. But it's still not respectful enough. At that point, you need to revamp what part of the protest you're looking at. Because if you're just mad about being mad about a protest, then take a step back and look at what he's actually saying here.
Yeah, I thought this was not going to be a topic going into this season anymore. I thought they would just figure something out. Just either players stay in the locker room for the anthem or just keep it the same. Because last year, towards the end of the year, it wasn't really much. Nothing was really talked about it. People's playoffs, people went about their business. Some people still kneeled or whatever, but it wasn't the focus like it was where the networks were just staying. Usually, I feel like normally for NFL games, the networks they went to commercial.
They did not. They would go to
unless
commercial.
It was the Super Bowl.
That was how I knew it was too big of a story.
Last year,
when they were
the national anthem, and I'm just like, wait, why is this on TV?
There's no reason for it to be on. You know what I want to see part of the national anthem?
Actually, they should just go back to that. They should just go back to not televising it, but as we've talked about before, the ratings going down. These networks want to, capitalize on a hot story, whether it's negative or positive, that they have money to make too, and it's their job to talk about the hot topics.
No, and I think that's totally it. Is I don't think it's as big of an issue, but I think it's because I'm guilty of this too. Is it's clickbait. I will click on a story just to see what has happened now with this stupid story. Yep. So I think people are more interested in it than they are upset by it. But it just keeps being recycled as this.
Just don't go to the comments section of any article that you click on.
Oh, God, no.
Just
God,
don't.
No.
Save yourself.
It's so bad. Well, and I don't know. So how do you feel about, Mike Zimmer has said, I guess in reaction to this, said that he wants all of his guys to stand. Bud Grant, obviously, Vikings Immortality, has said that all of his guys would stand.
Well, he's a veteran.
Yeah, so and he
older
dude.
Veteran.
That makes sense to me. I understand that. Does it with the Zimmer thing? I mean, as long as it's not an issue for the team, do you have any real problem? Because that was the other thing about last season with the Vikings. It was a league issue, but it was never we never dealt with it with the Vikings at all. There was never any type of issue.
Zimmer said that he thinks that people should stand for the flag, but at the same time, Brian Robinson and Stephon Diggs, I believe, talked about it. They were asked about it when the new policy was made, and Robinson said, I'll always stand for the flag, but I also understand that, the people in the military, they fought for people to be able to protest, so I'm always going to support those guys too. And Zimmer and Robinson both uttered a similar message of that if we're going to do something, we're going to do it as a team. So, if we're going to kneel or whatever, which I don't expect them to ever do that, everyone's going to kneel. But if we're not, if we're going to lock arms, everyone's going to lock arms. If we're going to all hold our hands over our hearts, everyone's going to do it. They want to make sure the focus is still on the team, and no one wants to take away from that. If other players have other issues, then that's something they have to figure out. But it seems like pretty much every player on the Vikings is on the same page. It's if we're going to do this, we're going to do this as a team. So,
and that's about I don't know about all.
You can't really get mad at them. I mean, I was looking back at some of the pictures of the owners on the field last year, locking arms, and I'm like, yeah, they're a bunch of liars.
Yeah. Well, and I think that this is, as an NFL consumer, and we are.
But at the same time, I don't think Zimmer's going to come out and if someone wants to kneel, I don't think he's going to be like, well, he's an idiot for kneeling.
Yeah, I don't think
he would ever do that. He's not that kind of.
Well, and I think that what winds up happening, especially from the owner's standpoint, is it's dollars to them. They are noticing that this is a big enough issue where it might cause them to lose money and they're not interested in that. I mean, I don't think so either, but I think that's what they're worried about. Well, and here's the wild card of this whole story is it can be a non-story, and then there's one guy, if he tweets once about it, it's a story again.
Yeah.
That guy lives in the White House, but I think they are very aware that it could be a story at any time, and the owners want their money, and that means less money in their brains. I don't think it's necessarily true.
Yeah,
But at the end of the day, they just want things to go smoothly. And I think Zimmer is similar. I think Zimmer is similar in that he also, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it as a team. I don't care what you guys do as long as it's not a distraction for the football games that we're about to play. Which, from a head coach, is what you
he's had that mentality about pretty much everything. So I don't really expect it to be any different for this issue.
Do you think he was the one that did the stuffed animal thing the one year? Where the fat cat, these distractions, Zimmer, come
That's
on.
hilarious.
He's better than that.
That was my most favorite press
Zimmer
conference ever. When he was like, these erroneous reports, me slashing stuffed animals are ridiculous.
It never happened.
This is amazing.
I don't lie to you guys. I've never lied to you.
I do feel like he didn't do like the blood, the fake blood or whatever. I feel like Boone or somebody did. Alex
that
Boone
was
did
in
that
addition. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, he's always been about the team with every subject, everything. Look back to Adrian Peterson, trying to get an extension or get a trade out of Minnesota, and Zimmer's like, "That's cool, but if you want to play, you're going to play here." So, he didn't want to make that issue bigger than the team or anything like that. So he's always been able to make sure that everything pretty much stays with the team, not one player stands out or becomes a sore thumb for the franchise. And that's
for sure.
He's done a pretty good job with that.
Yeah, and they have won a lot of games too, so you can't really argue with
it's working pretty good.
Yeah, can't argue with the process. You brought up Adrian Peterson. He wants to play for the Packers, in addition to a number of other teams. I don't want to play for the Packers, but I would like to play for the 49ers. I would like to play for the Vikings. I would also like to play for Seattle.
I think you have
thinking about Tennessee, and I'm thinking about Kansas City.
I think you have a similar chance,
right?
Pearson does, to playing in the NFL next year.
What a life it must be to be a millionaire and just believe whatever you want.
He's a huge narcissist.
It's unreal. That is some delusional.
Oh yeah,
delusional stuff there.
He's I don't like to joke about CTE, but he's definitely showing some early signs.
It's insane to me. There's no way he's going to land with the team this season, right? No way. Unless, there's always the training camp injuries, though, so we shouldn't say no way, because there is a chance that somebody could lose somebody.
Somebody might bring him in for a workout, in the middle of the year.
But you don't think he's going to land on him?
I don't know why. Because every team he's gone to, like we just talked about, he finds a way to make everything about him. Like with the Saints, it was, I didn't get enough carries. That's why we lost.
And here's the other thing too.
Somehow he still finds a way to do that. Look at
what. So he played for the Saints. When he played for them for 3 games, they were 1 and 2. He leaves. They had a pretty good season the rest of the way without him.
Yeah. He would have gone to the NFC Championship, not for Stephon Diggs and Case Keenum.
And yet, still somehow thinks that he could probably be productive, but still thinks that he could get 30 carries and should get 30 carries a game.
Yeah, he mentioned that a lot of teams now run a 2-back system, so that bodes well for him. He could fit in somewhere. I'm just it doesn't, because your ego wouldn't let you do that.
Yeah. And not only that, it's you're
If
competing
that was
with
the
guys
case,
who are
he'd already
younger
be on
than
the
you.
Patriots.
Yes, exactly. You're competing with guys who are younger than you, who can catch better than you, who can pass block better than you, and run the football a little bit less as far as like talent-wise than you do. So you're basically like, of the 4 categories, Adrian Peterson, you are the best in one by a tiny, tiny margin. Tiny margin. And I don't even know, God, that was even like 3 years. I don't even know if he would be able to rush the ball like that anymore without 30 carries a game to.
And like, a lot of teams would just rather sign like an undrafted guy who's super cheap, who has potential, rather than some guy who they'll have to pay at least like $2 or $3 million. Who's got a good chance of getting hurt.
Good chance of being a distraction in the locker room.
Yeah. So it's kind of, he's turning into like Torello and his career, where you might still have some left in the tank, but you're too much to deal with.
Yeah, nobody's
it's not worth it.
Yeah. It totally is. It's like the that one video where the guy does like what does he call it, the line, the crazy line with the girls, where it's like if she's above this line then she's good to go.
I haven't seen it.
It's a hilarious video. I'm surprised you haven't seen
Check that out.
But that's the line. It's how much of a diva are you, and how much can you produce? If you are not able to meet that line, it's not worth it. Nobody's going for it.
If you're a beautiful girl and you're crazy, that takes your rating way down. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, man. Yeah. And there's a line there, and Adrian Peterson is firmly below the line as far as production versus diva tendencies.
He's getting to that not category in the hot or not. So.
For real. He is just, I feel a little bit not like bamboozled. I don't feel like I got tricked, but I rooted so hard for that guy and the teams that he was playing on. And now that everything is kind of washed away and like he's not playing for him anymore, I just don't know how I was ever that pumped about him. He was an incredible football player, so that obviously was a huge part of it. But like, what a turd. He's just been like a turd the whole time.
He's always been like that.
It just is amazing. And then, like you said, once that talent and production starts to go down, now you're talking about a guy who like has never read a playbook, cannot catch a pass, can't block at all, is not interested in figuring out how to do any of those things, but still expects to like be employed.
Yeah.
Bonkers.
Yeah. That's like someone who has used like a typewriter their whole life, and then, they can't do it anymore, so they try and apply for a job. There's computers everywhere.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I can do it. I can type. And it's like, but that's not all you have to do these days.
You have to click on all these things. You have to click too. No, I don't click though. I'm just a typer.
Yeah.
That's what Adrian Peterson is walking around office buildings being like, I can type 300 words a minute. What do you need?
Yep.
All we need is for you to be able to work a spreadsheet, man.
Yep.
No jobs for you, Adrian Peterson.
PowerPoint. Yeah, I know how to do PowerPoint.
It's true. It's important. Have you ever given like a professional PowerPoint presentation? I have not.
Not professional in school.
In school, yeah.
College and stuff, but nothing like where I've had to use it.
Suit and tie, and
I've never had a job where I've had to wear a suit and tie. So
me neither. In fact, I kind of choose my jobs where I don't.
I'm very proud of the fact that I've never had to wear a suit and tie.
And I have visible tattoos, and I never catch any crap for it because my jobs are always okay with me having
Better, even if it pays a little less, it's better to be happy and comfortable than to.
I could not
somebody
agree more.
Not.
Speaking of happier and comfortable, Josh Freeman, I hope, is going to be both of those things because he's retiring now.
Yeah.
Josh Freeman, for most Vikings fans, lives forever in infamy in that was a Monday night game against the Giants, was it not? And he was atrocious and shouldn't have been in there, but was atrocious. And now he's not playing football. Wasn't he going to try a CFL thing? Wasn't that in the works?
That's what happened. He was released by the CFL team.
Oh, wow. Brutal.
They wanted to get more reps to the two guys they actually thought were going to make the team. And so after they released him, he decided to retire, which is
That's
fine.
got to be a tough pill for him to swallow, going from like the franchise savior in Tampa Bay to getting cut by a CFL team.
I don't know. It's weird. It's something happened that year that he went to Minnesota. Just I wish something would come out more about it, because he was pretty good before that. Like
He was,
threw
yeah.
25 touchdowns in the season, and he was pretty productive. So I
Number
would
2
like to
all
know,
time in Tampa Bay for passing yards.
Yeah, what went wrong? What switch got flipped?
God, I don't know, but he definitely, because that switch was flipped when he was still in Tampa Bay, because he went through a phase there where all of a sudden he was unstartable.
I think he was with. That's when Shiano was there, I think.
Oh, was it?
Like,
Okay.
So those two did apparently didn't get along. But I mean, I don't think he got along with him.
Yeah, I was going to say, who does get along with that guy? God, diving at ankles during victory formation. Does he really? Of course.
Yeah, they're good friends.
Bill Belichick is just the most. What a mystery. I watched the 30 for 30, the two Bills with Bill Parcells and him.
Yeah, that's good.
It was really good, but those guys there's so much going on in their brains that just nobody knows. They
think about stuff that like people wouldn't even dream of thinking about.
Yeah. They're like 6 steps ahead of the guy that's 2 steps ahead of me.
Yeah. They know like the bio and background of like the 4th linebacker on practice squad.
And guys like that, when you get, we spend so much time talking about these, coaches and different guys, and like different names pop up all of a sudden, but like all of these guys are crazy students of the game. I was watching who's the Rams young guy coach? McVay, thank you, was talking. It was like an NFL countdown list, and they were warming up. His team was stretching. He was like, "Oh yeah, I think it was Aaron Rodgers. He was like, week 6 last year, he had a throw in Seattle. It was unbelievable." And for him to just be like pregame and be like, "Yeah, 2 years ago, I've watched enough film where 2 years ago I can pop into my head like this one throw that he made."
Well, that's all they do.
It's bonkers.
When they're not coaching, they're in their office or they're at home watching film. I think it was that Tom Brady documentary that he had or whatever, where he, like 5 days of the week, he'd sit there and watch like 4 or 5 hours of film. Just like the same clips over and over again.
Man,
that's what they do. That's their craft.
That's the grind, man. That's totally it.
McVay was pretty successful last year, and I feel like Zimmer's a guy like that too. I think he's got probably an air mattress in his office where he sleeps there a couple times a week. But
the false closet door, that's just a bed that folds down, the Murphy bed.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Do you think that they love it so much they want to watch that much film, or do you think there's like such a fear from all of their coaches that they could lose their job or somebody else could be doing more research than them that they feel forced to
I think
watch
it's a little bit of
like
both.
that?
I think they've learned from some of their past employers. Like Zimmer's a Parcells guy, so so is Belichick. So those two kind of go through the same sort of motions as what it takes to be successful, and I'm sure watching film was a big part of that. So, but yeah, of course I think if you're gonna be good at what you do, I think you have to have that fear of being let go from your position, or else I don't think anyone should get too comfortable no matter what your profession is. You should always be striving to get better.
For sure, because if you're not, then you're complacent. If it's like if you're not moving forward, you're falling behind. Yeah, what are you doing it for at that point? What else do we got? Jaguars and Vikings joint practices.
Yeah, that should be fun.
Who do you think is going to get injured in the hand from punching someone in the helmet?
Laquan Treadwell.
Yes, it will. Of course it will. Oh, that was last year. Didn't he get hurt because he was... Or no, he was in a scrum, but it was...
He had to fight with Exum.
Yeah, but it was... The injury had nothing to do with the fight. As per Vikings.com.
Yeah, sure. No, yeah, I could see that. Is that happening? Him and Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
A little scuffle.
And there's always
Adam,
fights.
Adam
in those
Thielen
things.
too. He's been known to be a little feisty. Him and I think they had the Bengals joint practices a couple years ago. Thielen and Pac-Man Jones got into a little bit.
Pac-Man Jones. Is he still playing in
Pac-Man.
Cincinnati?
I think he's a free agent
Is he now?
still.
What a career that guy made for himself. Like, I thought for sure he was going to be like just like party or rage his way out of the league.
Zimmer saved it for him, pretty much. He saved his career. But yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm going to like it. Because Jaguars have a really good defense. It'll be a good test for the Vikings' new offense. Kirk Cousins, their offensive line, figure that stuff out.
For sure.
Their Jaguars' defensive line is no joke.
No joke at all. I have to shift my brain on the Jags because I still read Jacksonville, still read Jaguars, and I'm like, win, no problem. They're garbage. Blake Bortles, and they
offense is a different story.
Yeah, but I mean that's a really good football team. That's a really good defense with a.
Yeah.
That's a really good.
I saw something today where like Jacksonville was a team to keep an eye on to possibly trade for Teddy Bridgewater.
Yes, that would not surprise me at all.
Because of how well Teddy's been looking in OTAs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up, but
it's
like
shirts and shorts and
you know he's going to be their starter day one. You know it. You
Jets?
know. Yes. Yep.
I don't think he'll be there. I think they'll trade him.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the reason why they got him.
Well, I was impressed by that I read several reports. See, I didn't think I liked Teddy Bridgewater that much. I knew I liked him. I wanted him to be the starter, and then he got hurt, and I was whatever on him. I am like consistently checking New York Jets sites to like see how he's doing. I don't know. I had to admit that, but every report that I've read on how he's doing acknowledges the fact that they brought him in as trade bait. So it's like we can cut you for no reason, or not for no reason, but cut you with no financial repercussions if nothing works out. And if you do work out, then we'll use you as a trade chip. Because that was my concern when they brought him in after, who was that, McCown that they brought in for like $16 million or something stupid for 1 year? Either way, too much for
Josh. But I think Teddy's is like only $1 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good contract too for a team that needs a quarterback. Someone's going to get hurt this summer. Someone's going to need a quarterback.
So who do they have? The Jets have Darnold, right? Is who they drafted?
Yep.
Darnold, him, and one of them is going to be gone. Most likely Teddy if he. Well, it's almost 100% Teddy. There's no way they're cutting Josh McCown, so he's going to be gone. It's just whether they can trade for him or whether they can release him. That's really interesting because then if I'm a general manager of any other team, I'm not going to trade for him because you're going to cut him if we don't.
Well, I mean, if you're a general manager, you should trade for him now.
Yeah.
And not in the preseason if he starts to light it up.
Well.
And then his value, Jets are probably going to be looking for like a second-round pick by that time. People are going to be like, it's going to be like, the Bills are going to be like, Josh Allen and Jim McCarron's not going so well. What do we do?
Man, I don't know. I feel bad for Teddy. I think he's a really good player, and I just don't ever think he's going to get the right opportunity. I don't think anybody's going to give him the right chance.
Yeah. I always enjoy when I tweet about him or I write about him, people are like, well, why are you covering him? He's on the Vikings. Because people still care. Okay?
I still care.
People still are interested in him. Whenever I write, those are always like the top articles that people read about. So obviously people care.
There's a thing about Teddy, man. And here, you know what I'll say? I don't know if we talked about this last time. Yes, he's a super good dude. When he signed with the Jets, he wrote that kid, the Obadiah, the one that had the one that had the birthday party that nobody went to, and Teddy Bridgewater went. He signs with the Jets, writes that kid a letter about like, I know the Jets aren't going to be your favorite team, but I hope you can find it in your heart to make them number 2. I hope we can still have a relationship even though I'm like, what a good dude. He's a professional athlete. He didn't have to write that letter to that kid. That tells you everything you need to know about Teddy Bridgewater right there. And I wish him the best of luck, and I will research New York Jets fan sites to get all of the insight that I can on my favorite former Vikings quarterback.
Who's the last player that's kind of been like that, where they leave the Vikings and people are still like super interested in him? Would that be Randy Moss?
I mean, he feels, I think so, but he feels like a different, because that got so sour before he left that it was kind of good riddance. Like, I was a huge Randy Moss fan, and even I was like, you had to trade him. Like, get him out of there.
I was still curious to see like how he would do with the Raiders and stuff, and with the Patriots. So I mean, I was still keeping tabs, but
that might
different.
be.
It's different too these days because you have so much access on with like Twitter and reporting and stuff than you had in the past, where like you can find out how many passes he threw in OTAs. Where you just had to like look at a little blog or like a little clip on ESPN like 10 years ago.
Totally, or 2 bullet points in the Star Tribune sports section would be awesome.
I don't remember. Maybe Jared Allen. People.
Yeah, that maybe. I'm trying to think of. There's got to be one like a Kleinsasser or somebody. I mean, obviously not Kleinsasser, but someone like that where they left
John
and then
Randall to the Seahawks.
That was a long time ago. I totally forgot that he played for the Seahawks. I watched A Football Life on John Randall.
Percy Harvin.
Yeah, Percy Harvin is maybe a good one.
That was kind of bitter though too.
Yeah, it was. Adrian
Christian
Peterson
Ponder.
was totally better. Christian Ponder, yeah. I honestly, you might be right. It might be Randy Moss is maybe the only other one, because I can't think of anybody that I was like genuinely interested in the production of after they left. Maybe Cordero Patterson, because I thought that if he was in the right way, but
it's kind of similar. Case Keenum's kind of got that thing going on right now too. People are still interested in what's going on with him these days, and not so much on Bradford. I don't feel like as the other two.
There just wasn't ever a connection with Bradford in that way, because these other guys, they all had something that was like, whether it was like a presence like through the media, or there was like some type of personality, some like likability that was going on. And like Bradford, I'm sure he's a super nice dude. He's like the manila envelope of quarterbacks. There's just nothing to dislike. There's nothing to like. He does a thing,
Goes about his life, just goes and grabs his lunch pail or whatever and just does his job.
Does his thing. No big
goes in and goes out. Doesn't really
make friends or speak to humans. He just
I think he is actually friends with like the kickers or something. I think that's what his friends were.
Of course, he's friends with the kicker. That's like the most like
bland.
And it's like every football team is a school, and like you're eating at the caf. Of course, Sam Bradford is sitting with the kickers at the kicker table. Like, come on,
guys.
Oh God, that's hilarious.
What was it? Kai Forbath talked last week, and it was like the first time I think I've ever heard him really talk.
Speak words.
People were asking him about, the kicker battle or whatever, which I believe he missed 2 yesterday, and Carlson made all 5, so that's off to a good start for him.
Awesome. He also said recently, I saw that he welcomes the competition, and he's never lost the competition,
which is not true,
because you have been. You're about to lose your 3rd job since 2012. You definitely have lost these twice. That's why you're here. It's because you lost those.
With the Redskins or the Saints, wherever you started.
I could not. That was like the most amazing quote ever.
That's like what?
See, you can welcome, like, I agree with that. I'm sure you do welcome the competition, and that's like competitive football. Yeah, dude, never lost. Well, I just Wikipedia'd you, and you sure have. And it was that easy. One click, man. Like, you totally have lost. How upset will you be if they wind up cutting the 5th round pick of a kicker and hanging on to Forbath?
Very upset. I think he has to do really, really, really bad in camp in order for that to happen. I don't think Forbath's chances are as good as he thinks they are.
No. I agree with that. Maybe that's why we're not in the NFL, is because we're just not delusional enough. Where like we would be playing sports coming up and we'd be like, I don't know, I don't think I have much of a chance. That kid's a really good kicker. You know, like that would be what my brain would do.
I think they're putting a lot of emphasis on touchbacks too. And this Carlson kid's got a big leg and it's been known for his touchbacks, as well as his long kicks or whatever. And Forbath doesn't really have the most powerful leg in the world. So with I think the new kickoff rule, if it just touches the end zone, then it's a touchback.
Oh, really?
Like you don't have to kneel.
It
like
just
if you
if
just
it
catch
hits
it in the end
zone,
zone,
it's over.
And it's a touchback, I believe.
And then they're doing also the like punt style where like everybody's in the same
you can't
spot.
Have a running start. So
wedges are gone forever.
We'll see how it goes. It's kind of sad because it's really dangerous, but it's really fun to watch when someone breaks off a kickoff.
For sure.
Especially
honest to God, when I'm watching a football game and somebody turns the corner on a kickoff or punt return, and and you can see the defense turn and chase, and you know there are guys. I won't even watch that because I can't handle those guys getting blindside lit up like that on those blocks.
Oh yeah.
And so I totally get why they're changing it.
I'll watch it.
Do you think? Of course you. Do you think that this is just kind of delaying the inevitable with the kickoff stuff? Do you think there's just eventually it's just going to be gone? You know what somebody brought up? I brought that up at work the other day, and someone was like, "How are you going to onside kick?" Mind blown. How? Yeah, you have to have the kickoff so that if a team's behind and they want to do that,
like boot it up in the air.
Yeah, like what would
people have a chance?
Or I mean, like if the kickoff was eliminated completely and the other team just gets the ball on the 35, how do you get the ball back if you are down and want the ball? I don't know.
Yeah, that's tough. I don't think these rules are permanent.
Yeah,
I think they're what they're gonna see. I did see. I think the Ravens are trying to get like if you kick it through the uprights, you get an extra point.
Oh yes, I did see that.
I was like, I kind of like that. Like if you're gonna eliminate, kickoffs from mattering at all, then you might as well just add a point for doing something like that.
It just feels like there's no way. It by a mile is the most dangerous play in football, and it feels
more than a punt return.
Or, yeah, I mean, I guess so. Yeah, because of now that the rules are changed, those are probably a lot closer, punt return and kick return. But because of that,
I guess with punt return, you have guys that can block you right away. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. And you don't get the running start because it's like the kickoff is like that Braveheart scene every time, just and that's incredible and I love it. But I can't. If you are a higher up in the NFL and you're actually concerned about what's going on with CTE and concussions, there's no way you can look at that play and think that it has a place in the game long term.
I think if they're able to develop like better helmet technology and stuff, as that improves, and they might go back to some of this kickoff stuff where it's able to become a factor. Because I like that stuff. I like watching because like even if your team's down by 6, there's 10 seconds to go. Okay, we got Cordell Patterson back there. He could still run it back, and then we could still win the game. So like there's that hope that you still have. But
or those young Randy Moss. Oh my God, Randy Moss is going to return this kick. Yes, like
I feel like Adrian Peterson did that as a rookie too.
Yeah, and like that will be eliminated forever. And that to me is like some of the most exciting stuff. Like I love when stuff like that happens. Oh God, it's not usually out here for this play. It's like an offensive lineman catching a touchdown pass.
You could say that about like dudes getting their heads knocked off too. Like people miss those, but it's for the best that doesn't happen, or like quarterback's legs getting taken out or whatever, stuff like that.
Well, and I think you're right, and I think there's a lot of room to be made up with the like equipment style because people forget that for the longest time those helmets were not being designed to prevent concussions or brain bouncing. It was there to prevent skull fractures. That was all it was there to do. So I don't know about that. Yeah, well, like
Again,
now that they
as much.
What? Yeah, exactly. Not fracture as much. But now that was, and the concussion stuff was when they first started to have those. Like the Peyton Manning was one of the first guys that wore that helmet. That was like the first helmet that was like, okay, here's how we can prevent some of these.
Yep.
So there might be enough room to save the kickoff.
Eliminate. I think they eliminate a couple designs every year that are like just outdated, and players they have to choose a different model because the other ones are just ruled unsafe.
Yeah, and I think they're doing the grandfather. It's like the hockey helmets where it's like, if you had one for years, you can keep it, but if you just came into the league, it's not an option anymore.
I think everyone should just go with the single bar face mask anyway.
100% agree. Well, actually, though, like this, on a serious note, do you think there would be less concussions? Let me phrase that differently. Do you think the game would be safer if you didn't have helmets on the players? Because then the players would be forced to learn how to tackle in a way that took their head out of the equation. Because like rugby guys, they know how to do it. Well, I mean,
they don't hit like NFL players.
That's what I'm saying. NFL players would have to adjust because you wouldn't hit like that if you didn't have a thing on your head that could be used as a weapon, Which I think was a huge part of the problem in like the, mid 90s to the early 2000s when you were having these, jacked up segments. And these guys were like, I mean, they were torpedoes.
So good.
So good.
Whenever I think of like those old highlights or plays of people getting jacked up or whatever, I always think of that Pro Bowl highlight of Sean Taylor just annihilating that punter who thought it would be a good idea to run, and Sean Taylor's like, no. I think it was the Pro Bowl.
Can't put it up. I always think of who was the Denver Atwater? Steve Atwater?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, that guy.
He had some huge shoulder pads, though. He would use those.
Well, that's why he's like a safety, and he like was shoulder pads were up to here and just would destroy.
They were his shoulders.
Dude, those are
a lot of those
brutal hits.
Even like Ed Reed and Ray Lewis, some of those guys.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't that long ago. I don't know. That was just the way you did it. That was the way you tackled. That was how you made the most money. Was like
not wearing helmets would be the issue because one person knocks himself out on the ground without a helmet on and goes into a coma, and then the NFL is not looking pretty good after that.
No, definitely not.
So I think some protection is better than no protection.
I would agree with you. Before I said it out loud,
and football.
Before I said it out loud, I thought it maybe would work, but then when you say, do you think it's safer to not wear a helmet out loud, then you're like, yeah, that's kind of a bad argument to have.
Yeah, because I was thinking too, like with like youth football and stuff, what are you going to do? Like have kids not wear helmets? And then
I loved it when I was a kid, but
yeah, I did. We played tackle football when when I was young without helmets, but that also resulted in like bloody lips.
Exactly, and chipped teeth, and I still, honest to God, I still have a scar on my head from my friend's front tooth that I caught a pass and turned, and he was like,
they quickly learned, two-hand touches.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I hate to cut this short, but I'm on 2% computer battery because I don't plan ahead. So I think now would be a good time for me to sign off.
Yeah, you better hurry.
Good talking to you. I'm glad we got back to this. I will see you.
We'll have to talk about next week.
Yeah, for sure. And we got some OTAs. Things are moving, so we'll hopefully we'll have some stuff to talk about. We'll see.
Don't know when the rest.
Still, I was just gonna say, knock on wood. All right, we'll see you next week, buddy.
All right.
Skull bugs.